So when you're creating drawings and you come to add some dimensions to those drawings, one of the quickest ways of doing that is to bring through some of the dimensions that you use to define the part in the first place. So when you were modelling a part, you'll have had to create sketches probably, and then given dimensions to extrude depths or revolves, for example. And what you can do is you can pull all those dimensions through into the drawing quite quickly and easily, rather than recreating all those dimensions inside the drawing. So that's what we're going to look at in this tutorial. We're going to look at showing, erasing and deleting annotations. And annotations include dimensions in this case, but also datum features as well, such as planes and axes and things like that. So you want to set your working directory as drawing details, and then the subfolder as show, erase, delete, and then you want to load in the show, erase drawing. So I've already set that working directory, so I'm just going to pull the drawing in. Here it is, show, erase. We'll open that up. So we've got we've got a parent view here and two projected views, and then we've got a sort of 3D angle view up here as well. So this is relating to annotations, so we're going to click on the Annotate tab, and then we're going to select this button, the Show Model Annotations tab. And then we want to make sure that we've got the Model Dimensions tab open in here. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to select one of the views. And more than that, we're going to select a hole in one of these model views. We're going to select hole 2 from the model tree here. So that was a feature, it was a whole feature, and if we select it, you can see that the dimensions that we use to set that feature up in the part become visible on the two views that you can view that hole from. And then we have a list here of the dimensions that we're previewing on the right hand side here. So in this particular instance, we're just going to select this select all button down at the bottom. If we select that and then click on apply, those dimensions get inserted into the drawing. So they've been inserted now. Next we're going to select a specific view. So rather than a specific feature, we're going to select the front view in the drawing. So let's select that one. And what that does, because we've not selected a specific feature, it just gives us all the dimensions associated with that view for all the features. So again, all the dimensions that we're previewing there are all shown here in this list, and we're just going to select all of them by clicking this select all button at the bottom, and then we'll hit OK. And then if we click off in some free space on the sheet here to deselect those annotations, you can see that they've all been inserted. So we're now going to go to the second sheet in this drawing and look at a few other ways of managing which annotations we add to these views. So we're on sheet 2 now, and we're just going to click on the angle guide part that we're looking at here in the model tree, and again we're going to click on show model annotations. So again, everything about the model shows up. We haven't filtered these down yet at all, but what we're going to do is initially we're going to select all like we did last time, but then we're going to search through here. You can see as I'm rolling over each dimension, a highlight in that green colour just so I know which one I'm selecting. And because we've got two copies of this 32.5, we're going to get rid of one of those. So that D25 there represents one of them, so I'm just going to deselect that, so that's not going to be inserted. And then more than that, we've got two of these 13 values down the bottom there. If I hover over them, it gives me the system's internal name for those. So that one's D22 and that one is D32. So I think we'll deselect maybe 32. And then OK. So again, let's click in some free space over here just to deselect, and that's what we've ended up with. So if we insert some dimensions and then later on down the line we decide that we don't need them, one of the ways that we can get rid of them is if we select them in the window here and then hold down Control and maybe select some others. So we'll select this 32.5 and this 65 whilst holding Control, and then if we right click over the top of one of them we can erase. And then if we click off in some free space there, you can see they disappear. So if we want to filter our selection to just selecting dimensions, let's say, we can use the filter down here. So it's set on general by default, but if you open that up you can filter down to any number of items, but we're interested in dimensions. So there we go, dimensions option, and it means I can just box select that entire view there without selecting the view itself, just picking up all the dimensions there. Let's say I want to erase all those and go back and start again with inserting dimensions. I can just erase, and when I click in some free space they all disappear. So this front view still has some annotations attached to it, and I can query them in the drawing tree as well. I don't just need to hover over them in the graphics window here. You can see that they're a subsection of this front view, and hopefully you can see the ones that I hid or that have been hidden are actually greyed out, and if I click on them they become visible again. But let's say I've now decided that I want to make these ones visible once more. I can just select them, right click and click on unerase in turn. So that's how you make them visible again. So we'll move on to sheet 3 and we'll look at bringing in other types of annotation. So in this case we're going to bring in some axes from the part, and we're going to add them to this view here. So we've selected sheet 3, we're going to open up our model annotations tool again, but this time rather than dimensions it's datum features that we're actually going to bring in, because the axes are classed as datum features. So if we select that and then we'll select our view, you can see all the options in terms of axes that we can bring in. You can see them listed here with their names. It's fairly difficult to pick them out as I hover over them, but I don't have to pick them from this menu up here. I can actually click on the part itself to select the ones that I require. So you can see I just clicked there and I got a little tick on the corresponding axis up there. I'll have that one as well, and I'll have that one. So you can see that these three will now be inserted. So when I click on OK and then click in some free space, you can see that those three axes have been inserted now. And then I think we'll do a similar thing with this top view. We'll open up the annotations tab, but we've still got the datum features selected, and then I think we'll select this top view. and then let's say I want all these axes on this view. I can just click my select all again, selects them all, and then I can click on OK, and they all come through. So that's how to pull through annotations such as dimensions or datum features from the part file or even from the assembly file and place them in the drawings quite quickly. And hopefully you can see that that does save quite a lot of time. You don't have to create all these dimensions again. You can just reuse the ones that you entered to create the part in the first place.